Good pharmacovigilance practices are highly mature, yet year after year, regulators uncover the exact same findings in the Pharmacovigilance System Master File, or PSMF. When a company receives one of these repeat findings, the immediate assumption is often that it stems from a lack of technical knowledge or poorly trained personnel. The actual cause is different. Chronic PSMF findings are operational governance failures. Organizations constantly evolve. Personnel change, new vendors are contracted, and legacy IT systems are retired. The failure occurs when these structural changes happen without a reliable internal trigger to alert the PSMF owners to update the text. In some cases, smaller marketing authorization holders fail to establish a formal PSMF entirely, relying instead on an outdated detailed description of the pharmacovigilance system that no longer meets the legal standard. Treating the PSMF as a static regulatory deliverable to be checked off, rather than an actively embedded operational process, guarantees the document will drift from operational reality. When it drifts, it fails inspection. There is a persistent misconception that compliance is only evaluated during scheduled, standalone PSMF audits or formal pre-inspection reviews. Unplanned scrutiny arrives through external triggers: due diligence during mergers and acquisitions, sudden whistleblower complaints, or rapid regulatory requests force organizations into high-pressure document reviews with little time to correct deficiencies. This matrix illustrates the scope fallacy. Operational audits on the y-axis cross-examine PSMF modules on the x-axis. Reviewing aggregate reporting instantly checks submission schedules against the corresponding PSMF text. Similarly, auditing signal management verifies written methodology against how the team actually operates. If operational reality diverges from the written document in any of these targeted checks, it generates an immediate cross-functional consistency finding. Isolating the PSMF from daily operations exposes the marketing authorization holder to severe audit liability across every other department in the pharmacovigilance system. Let's examine the PSMF main body, specifically isolating the role of the qualified person responsible for pharmacovigilance, or QPPV. The regulatory requirement is clear. The QPPV must maintain continuous, real-time access to the PSMF. Yet modern role-based document management systems frequently trigger findings. Password expiration issues or system migration gaps can physically lock the QPPV out of the document right in the middle of an audit. This diagram outlines the deeper governance issue: formal signature versus actual system oversight. A true model creates a feedback loop where the QPPV actively authorizes data updates. In contrast, limiting the QPPV to periodic batch sign-offs severs the connection between operations and accountability. This disconnect becomes highly visible when inspectors look at the corrective and preventive actions, or COPPAs, listed in the main body. Listing overdue COPPAs originating from previous critical findings directly inside the PSMF acts as an immediate red flag for inspectors. The inverse problem is equally severe. Internal quality assurance audits uncover major deficiencies, but those findings are entirely missing from the PSMF text. Missing or mismanaged COPPAs in the main body prove to an auditor that the QA function and PSMF management team operate in disconnected silos. Moving to the annexes, Annex B, which lists service providers, is the most operationally dynamic and volatile section of the entire document. Organizations using infrequent, batched update cycles routinely miss short-duration clinical studies that begin and end between revisions. They fail to separate active from inactive partners, leaving terminated relationships on the list and creating a bloated, inaccurate picture. This visualization reveals a severe structural finding. Column 1 represents Annex B, outsourced partners. Column 2 represents Annex G, the audit schedule. Regulators expect every data handling partner to have a corresponding audit record. Without one, they become orphan nodes. These orphan nodes instantly reveal to an inspector that the organization's macro-level audit planning is broken. Further structural errors occur through misclassification. Outsourced adverse event sourcing, like social media monitoring, is frequently placed into Annex C, the product list, instead of Annex B. Defining a pharmacovigilance provider too narrowly excludes vital data handling vendors from proper regulatory oversight. Treating annexes as isolated lists rather than interconnected datasets provides auditors with a direct roadmap to the structural weaknesses of the system. To prevent this data drift, larger organizations frequently implement purpose-built automation software designed to pull data directly from safety databases into the PSMF. This diagram illustrates the new risk of automation. When an integration gap occurs, internal data desynchronizes. Without strict validation, outdated data persists alongside newly updated sections. These internal inconsistencies are much harder for quality assurance to detect than manual errors. This brings us to the PSMF logbook. Good pharmacovigilance practices strictly require organizations to meticulously record every version change, update, and amendment. Automated batching or failing update triggers frequently create an incomplete logbook, leaving undocumented gaps in the history. The regulatory consequence is severe. An incomplete logbook makes it impossible to reconstruct the exact compliance state during a specific historical safety event. Implementing automation without rigorous validation and complete logbook tracking merely replaces transparent administrative errors with opaque historical black holes. Locked-out QPPVs, orphaned service providers, and unreconciled annexes all share a single common thread: the absence of embedded operational update triggers. To fix this, organizations must abandon the mindset of treating the PSMF as a regulatory deliverable and adopt a data architecture mindset. Procurement, legal, IT, and HR must continuously feed operational data into the PSMF, with the QPTV acting as central gatekeeper. Because the document maps the entire organization, an operational mismatch found anywhere instantly becomes a direct PSMF consistency finding. Organizations that navigate high-pressure audits successfully do so because their PSMF reflects real-time operational reality, not a 90-day batch update. A marketing authorization holder must treat the PSMF as a live, daily compliance instrument. Otherwise, it becomes their greatest regulatory liability at the exact moment of external inspection.